Not only are you able to have more control of your creative process, but you also have the ability to generate real money using skills that you pick up owning a home studio. And I'm not saying that right off the bat you should go get some bank loan or something and drop 100K on a studio, but even taking one small baby step at a time to build up your skill sets, that's going to help you become a more universal artist, you feel me? And I guess in this instance, artist wouldn't even be the best word because you're really becoming a more universal business. If the only thing you do is create music, that means your business only has that one product to sell. What's good and welcome to Indie Leverage. This is the Let's Talk About It show where I take you with me as I search for some of the best advice I can find for music artists. So here we are again, back with episode number 7, and typically, we cover things like marketing, branding, and content creation, but I wanted to switch it up a little this time, and I found some advice on home studios, mixing vocals, and even some free plugins. So let's talk about it. Would you spend $100,000 on a home studio, or do you think that that would just be a waste of money? Well, in this first video, there's an artist that goes by Kara, and she walks us through her $100,000 home studio, and she tells us how she uses it to generate a real income.
I posted a cost breakdown of my $100,000 home studio, and a lot of people thought it was a waste of money. So let's break down all the ways that this studio generates profits. Number 1, this isn't a public studio that people can rent out to record. This is my studio, and because I invested in one, I'll never have to pay to rent one out in the future. Number 2, everybody's idea of a hit is different, and even though I've never had a plaque or award, I still have nearly 2 million monthly listeners on Spotify, with streaming numbers that provide consistent, regular revenue. Number 3, this is also a commercial video studio where I film tutorials, content, and TikToks like you're enjoying and interacting with now. As my videos became more popular, my demand for sponsorships in the music space is at an all-time high. Number 4, the studio is also used to develop my own products for music producers, which includes Splice's best-selling vocal packs, plus my own line of vocal templates and presets at iamkara.com. Number 5, I get paid to sing and vocal produce for other artists. That means my vocals need to not only sound great, but I gotta be quick when submitting music for opportunities. I could continue with more examples of revenue streams, but the point I'm trying to make is that you do not need an Olympic gold medal to be a respectable athlete. You don't need to be a top awarded restaurant to be a great restaurant. And it's ridiculous that people constantly try and hold musicians to these all or nothing standards. So would a $100,000 studio be a waste of money to you? It could be. I don't know. Depends on what you do with it.
First off, I don't even know why somebody brought up having a hit as an argument for why she shouldn't have spent $100,000. I mean, you could definitely tell that it comes from a place of ignorance, but just like she said, you have to have multiple streams of income. I mean, in fact, I go as far as to say it's pretty common knowledge that having multiple sources of revenue is how you can start to scale your wealth. But that's the problem with the perception of a lot of people, thinking that just because someone is an artist that their music is the only way that they could get paid. I mean, of course, you can always offer services like mixing, or you got different templates that you have for sale and stuff like that. But peep how she said the more attention she was getting online with different videos like we just played, more and more brands were reaching out to her for deals and sponsorships. But putting aside all the different ways that she's actually making money, let's think about all the different ways where she's also saving money. She won't ever have to pay for studio time, and she'll never be limited by someone else's schedule. You feel me? And they say that save money is just as good as earn money for a reason. But she was also saying that she gets hired to work on other projects, and that having a home studio allows her to take advantage of every opportunity and create what's needed in a timely manner. So not only is she earning money and is she saving money, but she's also able to secure any potential money that's coming her way just by having a studio at her disposal. I mean, imagine someone saying that they want to pay you for something, and because you couldn't get to the studio in time, they had to end up moving on to somebody else. Could she have spent way less than $100,000? I mean, of course, but could she have spent a lot more? Yeah, man, she could have gone even crazier with it. And I wanted to use this video for the episode because I feel like a lot of artists tend to have the wrong mindset when they're looking at the pros and the cons of having a home studio. And of course, you don't have to be some top level audio engineer, but it's just like you can find videos about marketing and music and branding and all that stuff. You could also go out there and find channels that are dedicated to teaching people how to properly mix a song. Not only are you able to have more control of your creative process, but you also have the ability to generate real money using skills that you pick up owning a home studio. And I'm not saying that right off the bat you should go get some bank loan or something and drop $100K on a studio, but even taking one small baby step at a time to build up your skill sets, that's going to help you become a more universal artist, you feel me? And I guess in this instance, artist wouldn't even be the best word because you're really becoming a more universal business. If the only thing you do is create music, that means your business only has that one product to sell. But it's not just about diversifying your income streams. Like she said, you basically have your own content room where you can shoot videos, have photo shoots. And on top of that, everything that she purchases from her home studio is a write-off and it's tax deductible. So whether you spend $100,000 or $10,000, the money you invest into a home studio, it's only a waste if you don't use it to its full potential. And I don't usually play 2 videos in the same episode by the same creator, but while we're on this home studio topic, man, Kara also shows us before and after proof of why acoustic treatment is so important to have.
This is why you need acoustic treatment in your home studio. Whether you're a singer recording or a producer mixing, this is key to a professional studio quality sound. You might not hear it now, but you will when I take it all away. This is the same room without treatment. Tons of echoes and all of that quality is gone. And this is what your home studio sounds like with acoustic treatments. Notice how clear and direct my voice sounds. It's almost like it's a different room. This treatment is by Psy Acoustics. I love this brand because you can print custom graphics and they come with a built-in light show. Not only are they functional, but they're also a work of art.
Yeah, that audio difference was definitely crazy, man. But bruh, those acoustic panels were hella dope, man. I can't, bro. Did you see those things? I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's making me want to go look up how much those things run for, man. Right now, I got the little basic 1-inch acoustic pads off Amazon. And let me not say basic, man, because I was really rocking with them when I first got them. But bro, those panels she got, you can even customize them. What? I ain't even gonna count, bro. That's dope for real. But let me stop. Let me get back to the point she was making. That sound difference is for real crazy. I mean, she was in a completely empty room, so there was nothing there to absorb any of that sound. But I heard the little claps with the reverb and the room noise. And don't get me wrong, I think having acoustic treatment, it can make a difference in sound quality for sure. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but about a year ago, I found out personally that it really don't even make that much of a difference, man. If you have the option to have it, then great. But it's definitely not something that makes or breaks the quality of your song once it gets, fully mixed. And the reason I found out is when I was moving, and of course I had to take all the little acoustic pads down off the walls. But while I was in this transition, I still wanted to record, right? And to my surprise, I didn't even really hear a difference. I wasn't sure how the song I was recording would turn out quality-wise since, I was in an open room, but I ended up using everything I recorded for the final mix. And ironically, that ended up being my first and actually my only song that broke 1 million streams. Of course, once I moved and got situated and all that, I ended up putting the pads back up. But instead of feeling obligated to put them up, to be real, man, I ended up procrastinating for like 3 months before I got around to it. So like I said, in my opinion, I feel like you can use them if you have them, but don't let not having them stop you from recording or getting started. You feel me? Because the common listener isn't going to be able to tell the difference anyways. And like I said, even when I was critically listening to it, like trying to find mistakes and stuff like that, I wasn't able to tell the difference. And I mean, it might be because I have the cheap pads from Amazon and she got these high-end acoustic pads, but My point is, when you're building your home studio, you'll have a whole list of things you want to get. New gear you want to add, all the different plugins and stuff like that. I mean, you might even want to upgrade to, some custom acoustic panels. I don't know. Even as you start to cross things off your list, you'll end up replacing them with some other new thing that you want to get, and I feel like it's important to prioritize what you have on your list and consider what will make the most significant difference. You feel me? Like, that's not to say you won't want things like lights or whatever else that there is for aesthetic purposes, but unless you have a huge budget, you'll have to pick what things you want to go first. But don't wait to get the computer and the microphone and the interface and all the basic things that you actually need to press record and mix your music just because you're just saving up for something like acoustic panels. But let's say you have like a $500 microphone and you still don't have anything acoustically treating your studio. It's just a blank wall, got nothing around it. If you were trying to choose between getting acoustic panels or upgrading to some new $2,000 microphone, then it would probably be smarter for you to invest into the panels instead. For me, it's all about looking at everything that I want and pinpointing which thing would actually help me get to where I want to go the fastest. And we just saw her expensive studio setup where she put $100K into it. So she was at the point where it made sense to have the acoustic panels. She already was able to afford basically everything else. But we're all at different levels and we're on our own journey. You feel me? Y'all heard me get all excited about the panels, and you best believe that's going to go on the wish list. But I ain't on that level yet. I don't have no $100,000 to put into a home studio right now. And I'm sure those panels can't be too crazy expensive to the point where I couldn't buy them, or even if I had to save up for them for a little bit. But based off of where I'm at, not the level that I want to be, but the level that I'm currently at right now, it just probably wouldn't make any sense to invest into that right now. And that's before I haven't even looked into the prices yet. But I'm only saying that because there are so many other things on my wish list that would make, a bigger difference in the quality of what I'm doing. I feel like artists should try their best to prioritize their budget like a business. Always consider what will give you the biggest ROI, which isn't always necessarily just money. Like I said, if you can increase the quality of your products, which is basically your music or even your content, but by improving the quality of your products in the long run, you're more likely to reach your goals faster. And trust me, I know how easy it is to get enticed by a new shiny object. All I can tell you is, I just try to do my best to keep the main thing and focus on the finish line. Just one step at a time and refining what you do along the way. What's the cringiest way that you've had an artist share their music with you?
Ooh. Oh my God, I remember this one guy took me out and he brought me to this nice little restaurant, and things were going good. There was a vibe, he was cute, he was sweet, and when I asked him what he did for a living, he told me he was a rapper. And I remember actually thinking that was cool, and I told him I wanted to hear something he made, and this man pulls up YouTube and starts rapping loud as fuck in front of everybody. Everyone was staring and laughing. I wanted to cry, I was so embarrassed.
Yeah, some guy came up trying to sell me his mixtape or something like that in the parking lot. I told him my car don't even play CDs, but that I'd check him out on Spotify. And he said he wasn't on there because streaming don't pay enough.
They send me all these SoundCloud links I never even asked for when I don't even use SoundCloud.
What? Why would a musician even send something to me? I don't understand.
So what platform do you like streaming music on then?
To be honest, I use YouTube, don't get me wrong. It's just I like to hear it when it's actually done,
Yeah, I go on Spotify.
I just use the Apple Music stuff that comes on my phone. Why?
Whether it's your first time or if you're just tired of paying for every song you release, then it might be time to consider using DistroKid. Not only can you release unlimited songs to all major streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple for only $40 a year, they let us keep 100% of our royalties, and they even have direct deposit to make it easier than ever to get paid what we deserve. By using my referral link, you'll be able to sign up and receive 7% off on your first year. In full transparency, I do receive commission off of this, but this isn't like an official sponsorship type of deal. This is actually my own personal referral link that DistroKid gives to the artists that use their services. So I put the link that saves you money down in the description for you, but let's go ahead and get back to the video. While we speaking on refining what you do and improving your sound quality, I'm gonna bring up this next video from Metalworks Institute where they got a vet in the game breaking down some common mixing mistakes that apparently almost everybody makes.
Common mixing mistakes from a veteran studio engineer and music producer.
They listen too loud. So if you listen way too loud, you'll get ear fatigue, and then your ears start to compress, and you will make a very bright mix because your ears will start to fade off on the top end after a while, and you'll start adding more as time goes on. So what happens is you end up with these very unbalanced bright mixes because it's too loud, where you should listen at a regular volume. Regular volume meaning about 85 dB. Not too low, but not too loud. Another one, if you're mixing pop, make sure the vocal's loud enough. Because it's all about the melody. The beat and the vocal. So the vocal's the melody and the beat's the beat. So those two things have to be heard. Everything else, good luck. Not using distortion properly. Like, in other words, sometimes people distort the wrong things just because they think it's cool. You know, they have this distorted sound that they think, oh, it's cool, but it's just a cheap trick sometimes. Or it's not necessary. And it clutters up stuff. So you have to be careful how you use it. Some things are genre related. You know, bass, for instance, in hip-hop, and your bottom end is extremely important. Or in rock, your mid and top is extremely important too. Like, very important.
Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely guilty of that first mistake, especially when I first started out, when I wasn't even really aware of it. I would just keep mixing and recording music until my ears were like completely fatigued, and I didn't even really give them any type of break throughout the day, And even after I found out what it was, to be real, I still find myself to this day trying to buck on calling it quits. And in my head, I'd be like, come on, bro, you can at least finish this mix real quick. You're gonna be all right. So I'm also talking to myself when I say that it's definitely important to listen to your body, because, you ain't supposed to do that, man. Like, especially if you're thinking long term. And if anything, look at it as a way to save your time, because more than likely you'll just end up tweaking it more the next day, right? But I know that I've made each of these mistakes myself. So over time, learning how to properly mix my vocals with the beat where it sits, right there in the pocket. A little trick, if you do lease beats online, a lot of times producers are sending you a fully mixed beat, right? Like where it's an MP3 or wave, whatever you get. And they usually have it where it's hitting as loud as it can without bleeding over. They're giving you the fully mixed beat. So I like to use something like the Trim plugin where I could bring it down to about -6 dB. But I actually like to look for new mistakes that I'm making. I feel like that's just a part of the process where you got to constantly try and improve and grow, you feel me? But that takes dedication, and you got to be willing to always be a student of the game, especially the further that you go and the more things that you learn, because when you first start off, you basically have to learn everything, right? So of course you're like a sponge. You're just soaking in as much as you can. But as time goes by and you start feeling like you're starting to hear the same advice, or you might feel like you already have a good understanding of, what you think you need to know. For one, you don't know what you don't know. But for two, that's kind of how the game works. You might sit through like 1 hour of a podcast episode and they're going over some things that you're already familiar with, right? But it's always good to have a refresher. But 9 times out of 10, you'll leave with at least 1 or 2 little gems. It might be a new piece of information or a new way to look at something, or like a tool or something like that. It might be something that was said that even struck an idea or a thought into your head. So mistakes are going to keep happening. There's no way around it. That's just going to be a part of the journey. But the more mistakes that you make, the more lessons that you're going to learn. And that sounds kind of cheesy and cliche, but you got to be as in love with the process as you are with the idea of you reaching the finish line. And I guess you don't have to, but I probably would have been burnt out if that wasn't the case for me. This requires too much hard work for you not to love it and for you not to be addicted to it. And I feel like that's why a lot of people fall off over time, because they're in it for the wrong reasons. But I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and get off my little soapbox, man. Let's go ahead and pull up this next clip. We got a video from Love Dawson. It's time for those free plugins that I told you about. So let's go ahead and see what he's talking about.
If you're a music creator, here's some awesome free plugins that, in my opinion, are just all must-haves. First off is a Kilohertz Essentials bundle. This bundle comes with over 30 free plugins from EQs to reverbs and compressors. It's even got some frequency shifters, transient shapers, and tape stops that are still basic, but not every DAW might have great sounding stock versions of these. And as in the name, it literally comes with almost all the essentials you need to start creating music. So this bundle is perfect for anyone that's just starting off. Next on my list, I got Pancake 2 by Cable Guys. It's basically a panning modulator. So let's say you want an instrument to pan back and forth throughout your mix. Instead of automating it every single time, you could literally program it within Pancake and it'll just do it for you. It'll save you a ton of time from automation, and on top of that, you can get some pretty cool shapes with the modulator. It can really help to add some space and creativity into your mix. Last on my list is Fresh Air by Slate Digital. In my opinion, this is probably the most essential one yet. Now, to my knowledge, it's technically a dynamic processor, but it basically kind of works like an EQ. It's only got a few knobs, so it's really simple to use, and it's great for adding that top end that you've been looking for. Whereas with some EQs, if you were to just boost it, it can tend to sound harsh. And just as a side note, it sounds very good on vocals. I'll definitely be doing a part 2 where I share more of these, but try these out and let me know what you think. Be sure you follow so you don't miss out.
I ain't gonna lie, man, that's actually one of my most recent mistakes. And until I saw this video, I didn't even know that they had free plugins like that. I mean, I knew you could get like the little cracked plugins, but I never wanted to do that just because I personally would rather spend a little bit of bread if it means me feeling more confident that the plugin is gonna keep working. And of course, I've always known about the stock plugins, but I bought so many plugins through places like Waves, thinking that that was the only way to get additional plugins that weren't made by whatever DAW I was using. So I've definitely been tripping on that, man, but I never even tried to do any research to get free plugins because, I don't know, I guess I just always assumed that they would either be some cracked version or it'd be like a demo version of a real plugin where you only get some of the features. But yeah, man, I'm definitely going to go ahead and look into all those. But let me know in the comments if you already use any of these plugins and how you use them and how they work for you. But last but not least, let's go ahead and move on to our last clip of the day. It looks like it's originally from the Producer's Grind podcast, but this man is saying that the engineer is the most slept on person in the music industry. Whew. So let's talk about it.
The engineer is the closest person to the artist. The engineer is the most slept on person. It gets no love, no attention. Nobody's sliding into the DMs. Nobody's building a relationship. Nobody's trying to help the engineer. They're always trying to help the manager or the artist or whoever. You want to get to an artist? Let's go back to that studio session real quick. What are the magic words?
Marcus, pull up the beat.
Come on. Magic words. Just show love to the engineer. Get a good relationship with the engineer. Next thing you know, engineer's like, oh, your beats are dope. I'm going to pull them up for the artist. Next thing you know, you're sitting in the studio with the engineer and the artist becomes familiar with you because you're just part of the crew. Next thing you know, artist is in the booth according to your beat. All because you showed love to the engineer. It's the cheat code to the entire music game.
Okay then, bro said that's the cheat code for the entire game. And obviously he was speaking more for producers, but the same concept can be applied for artists if you think about it, especially if you're an artist that makes your own beats as well. But the real takeaway I got from this is that in this industry, it's important to network around the room. Everybody's shooting their shot at the A&Rs or whoever they feel like can put them on, but I'm sure there's a lot more roles in the industry than we think that get slept on in some type of way. But you never know what door is going to open another or which door gets open because of that. But so many artists look at networking from the standpoint of what's in it for them instead of trying to make genuine connections with people. And dude in the video made a good point on how the engineer can create opportunities for you based on their position. But maybe you'll end up networking with somebody and they don't have whatever job title or position that can help advance your career. In fact, after chopping it up with them, it may turn out that you actually are in the position to help them. But even putting artists aside for a second, most people in general don't have the mindset of seeking out relationships with people and be grateful for any opportunities that they get to help someone else. And yeah, I could go down the whole rabbit hole of you never know who someone is, who someone will be, or who someone knows. But in my personal opinion, I don't feel like that's our job to try and figure out. Call it karma, call it fate, call it God, call it whatever. I just feel like things have a way of working themselves out. You feel me? If you put enough good energy out there, eventually that good energy is going to come back to you. But make no mistake, that shouldn't be the reason behind you doing any good deed or whatever. And in the video, he said the producer could have the engineer pull up a beat before a session. And whether that was the producer's intention to get something out of it or not, I don't really know. But he did bring value to the engineer because the engineer's job is to bring value to the artist. So if the artist ends up needing a beat and the engineer is able to help out the artist, it all becomes a mutually beneficial thing between all three of them. So it's not necessarily about being unaware of how helping someone else can benefit you, but I feel like helping someone purely with the intentions of helping yourself, then in the long run, you're just setting yourself up to take a L. You know, you'll probably end up resentful of every situation where you help someone and you didn't get some sort of immediate benefit or reward for it in return. I mean, it's a toxic mindset to have. And I'm not like a therapist or anything like that, obviously, but I know how different types of mental blocks can really affect the progress you could be making with your music. And that's not just for situations like this. It could be, honestly, with anything in life, just the regular speed bumps that life is constantly throwing at you, you know? But I don't know how we got from engineers to being slept on to mental health and mental roadblocks holding you back in your music, but somehow we got here, bro. So on that note, let's go ahead and call it for today's episode of Let's Talk About It. As always, let us know which one was your favorite piece of advice down in the comments. If you ain't already tapped in and subscribed to the Indie Leverage channel, then you already know what to do, man. Go ahead and join the fam. Get notified for more videos like this. But I'll be back same time next week. Until then, y'all keep on pushing because we starting to gain some leverage.
Put myself on, 'cause I can't settle for average. I made it a habit of doing what they couldn't get done.
Wait, you still here? You must not know a video to watch next or something, huh? Alright, man. I got you, bro, but you gonna have to get up out of my studio, cause yes, what the
got me showing up. You can keep your keeper behind the gate if they won't let me in. Yeah. We balancing the scales now, and we got them scared. Yeah. We been gaining leverage. What I need a handout for? Watch me really put myself on. Indie Leverage drop gems, you get all the free game, yeah.